Hello and welcome back to Sonic Unleashed Part 7, and in this episode we'll be continuing on through Spagonia Night stages with the Werehog. For the most part, the Spagonia Night stages are actually relatively decent, but we're still early on in the night stages after all. The only other night stages that we've really done so far have been Apitos, which are mostly tutorial. That's pretty much how combat for the rest of the game is going to go. We're going to open up with a dash attack in order to stun an enemy, and then we're going to do the 4-hit combo because that ends with a stun that we can use to follow up with yet more 4-hit combos. Unless we have to deal with aerial opponents, then we'll do a 3-hit launcher mixed with a brief air juggle.
So, repetitive music track on top of repetitive combat style. I have a feeling that the specific musical parts of the sequence are going to be strongly associated with the respective parts of the attack that are elapsing during that time.
I don't find that to be the case, to be perfectly honest. I don't sync up the music with my attack pattern all that well, or all that often.
Rest time is over. Time for boxers. Rest time is back.
Dealing with flying enemies in particular is a bit of an annoyance because unless you do the aerial rave that Sonic's got, you don't really have a good answer for them. I mean, the 3-hit launcher does work on aerial targets, but it only just works on aerial targets. Like, it'll knock them higher up and then attempt to ground them. But even while they're on the ground, they tend to have the lead elixir enhancement from Bloodborne, where they don't really take hit stun anymore whilst they're getting up.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
It's not a big problem, but it's an annoying one that I notice.
You really gotta watch out for that anti-stagger, and floor spikes. Floor spikes are very dangerous.
Floor spikes are kind of dangerous. They're very dangerous to a daytime Sonic, but Werehog Sonic just kind of eats them. Honestly, the Werehog is actually much more vulnerable to these rotary saws than he is to spikes.
Oh yeah, dude. With low vertical forward motion, velocity, you're gonna get tripped up on that quite often, I would imagine.
Here we have a new enemy type, the wizard enemies. Wizard enemies technically count as flyers, so what you usually end up wanting to do is attempt to stun them, then hit them with a 3-hit launcher, so that you can actually, juggle them to death. It can be very difficult to do, especially if they're far enough out to where they get to actually use their projectile attacks on you, which don't do all that much damage, but they do cause you to go into stagger state, at least usually. Alright, Hornet is dead. Now we can attempt to do yet more Werehog platforming.
Beep.
This door doesn't have a significant lift.
But there are rings up there. Gosh dang it.
This platforming segment takes us a while, and I want to apologize for it because, honestly, a lot of this is my fault, but past Gerdat specifically, still wants to blame the controller for it, and he was having rather significant controller issues during this time.
My dad works at Nintendo. I mean Sega.
Does that mean that he can get me a PS3 controller?
Yes.
Oh man.
It means that we will cease to have excuses.
I need to be better with my controllers, honestly. I get frustrated too easily, and then I end up tossing them flippantly, or in defeat. And landing on hardwood surfaces is not good for controllers. It's just not.
No, it's not, especially from standing height. You definitely don't want to drop a plastic controller from standing height onto the floor. And that's what happened to my first PS4 controller. I just dropped it one too many times.
Ah.
Meanwhile, this is not...
I
would
do
say
stand
that
by
the
that
game
jumping should not be this both floaty and heavy. Because the werehog has got a lot of floatiness on his ascent, but he just drops like a rock once he hits peak hits peak verticality.
Oh yeah, that on the ascent, I agree. It should be easy to control by giving you, of course, by giving you plenty of time to adjust his position. Versus the descent, where that's where you finish that's basically the equivalent of dropping the Tetris block. Now, meanwhile, this crap kind of makes me raise an eyebrow that this is the beginning of this whole you fucked up, you gotta start over again, but you can't really tell where the platform is with respect to Sonic.
That's partially because of how his shadow is textured. I actually think that his drop shadow in Spagonia is fine, but as we would see in HD Unleashed if I was playing that, his drop shadow ends up becoming non-existent in better lit areas, and that becomes a pretty big issue in Eggman Land when you are required to know where Sonic is vertically at all times. You're okay, Sonic. You don't rule. So recently, we had the trailer drop for the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Have you actually seen the trailer for that yet, Cloud?
What, the revised trailer, you mean?
No, the normal trailer.
Oh, the normal trailer. I did see bits and pieces of it. And, oh boy. I just hope they don't make Sonic, like, a little too normal, like he starts, like, driving a car and he starts making these snide one-liners while he's, like, avoiding egg robots or something.
Well, here's the thing. That's kind of what Sonic does. He actually is a very cheesy 90s character. The one-liners come with the territory.
No, that's the 80s. 80s is for one-liners.
Ah.
Or something like that. Was there ever a bad time for one-liners?
Yes. You know, when the world is at its end and you're attempting to fight off God's legions, one-liners are appreciated but not really appropriate.
For was it not Julius Caesar who said, "Et tu, Brute"?
Yeah, but that's not really a one-liner. That's him questioning the betrayal of a close friend.
But he said it in one line. Well, I mean, then he said "So fall Caesar," but everybody remembers "Et tu, Brute."
But again, that's not. I consider one-liners to be, you know, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger action one-liners, as opposed to just generic one line of text or dialogue.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah, that is a classic one-liner.
You need a bigger boat.
That is also a classic one-liner because that is, although that's a horror one-liner, it's, you know, it's delivered and with an action mentality. God damn it!
No! Oh, the scream
also,
of everlasting torment!
Don't kill these floaters here. You can kill these floaters if you really, really want to, but don't, because then you can't actually cross these gaps. Because Sonic's double jump, even while dashing, cannot cross the great Spagonian Bridge of Time, or whatever the hell this would be called.
Oh, it's the Bridge of Time. To us anyway, and our viewers, it's the Bridge of Time.
Yeah, we're here for another 6 minutes.
These guys don't respawn, do they?
I do believe that they actually can respawn if you kill them, but I'm not courageous enough to try it out.
Gotcha. Because that too would take time.
Yes. So are you ready for a random question of the day, Mr. Cloud?
Random question of the day is...
Would you play Joy McFight with me?
Joy McFight? Yes,
Yeah.
yes. If the game is called Joy McFight, I would play that.
Awesome.
Sweet. Joy Mac. Are they smiling robots?
Going back to our previous off-topic tangent, I've not actually seen either of the trailers for the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I saw the design and I'm like, no, I don't care. That's a terrible design. And I'm not actually that big of a Sonic fan, so I probably wouldn't have watched this movie anyway.
Well, that's just it. Is that like if they can't while you're not a core Sonic fan, like if they can't even get the fucking target audience to come in, then what the hell are they doing?
Right. Run all the way back for some force.
Run.
Or jog briskly, rather.
Spagonia downtown! Beep, 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 Spagonia! Woo, woo, woo!
We built this city on a large bridge.
We hid these items!
We hid these items on passable walls.
Look at how fucking slow this platform is. It doesn't have to be that goddamn slow.
It doesn't have to be that goddamn slow, honestly. It should actually be moving at a decent clip continuously. But now I fell off the wrong side of the bridge again, so now we have to go all the way across the gap again.
Well, let me just say that, like, I have become rather used to this game's limited number of different objects that it can use at any given time. So I'm pretty sure that elevator is going at the same height, it's going at the same speed, and it alternates at the same intervals as the other elevators we run into in this level.
Yes, it does. And they all suck for it because they're all moving too slow.
Because they're all the same.
Yeah. Alright, so do you prefer their work as Jefferson Airplane or as Starship?
Jefferson Airplane, totally.
Alright. I mean, I do like Go Ask Alice from Jefferson Airplane, certainly, but We Built This City is honestly a much happier and upbeat tune that I like to jam out to more.
Oh yeah, it's got upbeat. Because nothing like going downtown, down to the town where rock and roll is king.
Yeah, back in the 80s when rock was king.
Why do you think they make Sonic turn around when the thing starts going the other way? Because he's already giving you the option to go either forwards or backwards.
Because the thing that he's holding on to is turning around.
Well, that makes sense. That's a really good touch right there.
It's kind of a good touch.
Of Sonic grabbing the thing, but the touch of applying a polish.
But the thing is, it adds an additional 2 seconds onto the trip each time because they have to stop and turn around before you're actually allowed to make more progress. And again, these things go at a slow enough pace to where you're always wondering why aren't we across the bridge yet? Like a petulant child.
Are we there yet? We fell off about a minute and a half ago. Are we there yet? At least you don't get... I tell you what, it's good that all it does is lower your score. Getting a time over in pretty much all of the modern Sonic games, you do not, lose a life just because it takes you 10 minutes to finish the level. They know it's going to take you more time to do the level because you have more options in which to go.
I'm actually really glad about that for certain modern Sonic games, specifically Sonic Heroes. I recall, as a teenager, one of the Sonic Heroes levels that I absolutely hated was Team Chaotix's run through Bingo Highway, the special map for it. Because the special map for Bingo Highway on Team Chaotix requires you to find all 20 of the Bingo tokens in order to get into the club. The thing is, there are only 20 of them, and they're scattered throughout the level, and the last one is on the final bingo table, and it requires you to go to the bottom right segment of that level on a very specific clip in order to get to it. Several of the other ones are also really well hidden. But that one in particular, you have one chance to get on each pass, because if you don't get it when you are on the table, you end up hitting the charming flower and have to restart all the way back to the start of the level. I'm really glad that modern Sonic games don't have the time over rule anymore, because my first clear of that particular level took me more than an hour and a half.
Damn, bro. Racking up 90
yeah,
minutes on the clock,
I
that's
actually
impressive.
overclocked the timer on that on my first clear of it.
I remember like Pumpkin Hill Zone from Sonic Adventure 2 probably took me. It was either Pumpkin Hill Zone or the space level where you're playing as either Knuckles or Rouge trying to fetch the Chaos Emeralds in like scattered outer space in orbit stuff.
Mad Space
that
is
probably
Rouge
took me between like 24 and 28
terrible.
minutes.
Yeah. Mad Space's Rouge is infamous for being super terrible. I don't think Meteor Herd is honestly that is regarded as that bad usually. Also, we bowled with the minions. It was very nice for us.
Yay. Well, that was easy. Like seriously.
Right.
That was the
So we
climax
should
of the
still
level,
get an A rank
goddammit.
because of all the force and rings that we picked up. Because I think we picked up all of the rings in the level, and we almost actually got it on time too. We were only 15 seconds short.
I hope I didn't suck.
Well, we did suck, but only because we fell down twice. Alright, and in the next episode, although we're not quite done yet, we still have the results screen to give us the beatdown. This is honestly a really good tactic, but I will barely ever use it because, yeah, it's a bit more complicated to execute than what it says on screen. It's more about timing than about button pressing. And in the next episode, we will continue on with more story progression, specifically in Apotos.
More.